Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and we have gathered here again today. And tonight, we're going to talk about a war film. Yes, The Great Escape, which is definitely 100% Lee Wilson, a war film. Let's go with that. Let's go to Lee. Lee, what do you make of this film?
Well, I don't find it as a classic as a war film. Okay, yes, it's set during the war period in a prisoner of war camp, but as I keep telling, well, we debated about this. It's their plight trying to find, the escape from the war camp. Yeah, it's a classic movie. It's an ensemble cast, some famous faces in there, some faces that we'll know from another TV series. Yeah, enjoyable. There's humour in it, camaraderie in it. There's hope, and there is some, shall we say, bad endings for some of the people. And it's based on a true story. Okay, as well, it's 2 hours 45 minutes. My opinion, maybe 45 minutes too long, to be honest. But I enjoy it. I mean, this film's on every year. It's on TV every year, either Easter or wherever. It's always on. And I always click it on because sit down and watch it. You just get enthralled in watching it. Just the actors doing it. Brilliant. So yeah, I enjoy it. It's goes down as a classic in my book. So I'll go further along. With your favourite moments later on. Back to you, Alid.
Thank you, Lee. And yes, it is on all the time, but I checked and it wasn't on this week. So that's amazing. I think this is the only week since the film came out that it hasn't been on telly. So just when we decide to review it, let's go to Beef Dad in Germany, eating one of his originals.
Well, yeah, it had a brilliant cast. It is too long. I wasn't really impressed with the writing of it. It's based on The Great Escape. It isn't actually The Great Escape because, Steve McQueen, when he does his motorbike thing, that didn't happen. That did not happen. But yeah, an extraordinary cast. You've got John Layton in it, playing the Tunnel King, who originally in the 60s, when he first started appearing, was a singer. In fact, his first record got banned by the BBC in 1961, I believe that was. Yes, it was, yeah. Of course, Gordon Jackson, the butler from Upstairs Downstairs, David McCallum, apart from anything else, he did several science fiction things. Richard Attenborough, although oddly enough, this time he didn't play a psychopath. James Garner, well, yes. James Garner is James Garner. He doesn't really, his stuff, his expertise is in cowboy films. It didn't seem right in this. Angus Lenny, of course, playing Ives the Mole, the chef from Crossroads. One of the very early soap operas in England. And of course, William Russell playing Soren. And as soon as I saw him, I thought to myself, well, why don't you shout for the Doctor? As he was one of the Doctor's original three companions. But he didn't. so there was no sign of the TARDIS, and it would have got them out of there a lot easier. But apart from that, it was. I don't think it was brilliantly written. I would say some of the direction was a bit on the iffy side, and it was just far too long.
That's it. Beef Dad says it's far too long. Beef Dad complaining about the length. Let's go to Stephen Price.
Yes, I've seen this film every Christmas or Easter, whenever it's on.
You've seen it every Christmas and Easter.
No, you know, sometimes it could be on a Christmas, or they could change it to Easter, whatever, or on a bank holiday. Yes, I've seen this film tons and tons of times. It is pretty long. A few months ago, I did see David Jason. He done a documentary on the real escape, and it shows where the end of the tunnel was and all this and that. Yeah, it's a great cast in it. What I can remember of the movie is the best scene is with Steve McQueen on the motorbike. That's been photoshopped, I don't know, thousands of times. Yeah, it's a brilliant cast. I think Charles Bronson is in. He has like claustrophobic in a tunnel. Remember that bit? Yeah, it's a really good film. It's just a bit too overlong. They could have cut about 40 minutes out of it.
And let's go to Susan and Alex to see what they think.
All right. Well, I love this movie. When I came to stay with Alex, the first time I noticed that he had this movie, and I've watched it a few times. I enjoy it a lot. It isn't too long for me, because it's got like the whole build up and like they have to move all the earth, and the whole idea of being in a prison camp is that I mean, it's a long, drawn-out process with nothing to do. So, I mean, the business isn't exciting. I mean, there's not like fist fights or whatever. But I agree that Steve McQueen was not in the original. Like, his character was not in the true story, and I think it's. I mean, but you know, you got to have to suck in the American audience. Here I go. To suck in the American audience, you have to have an American action hero doing something. And James Garner was too sedate and too, you know, walking on the reality of the thing. And then they needed to put Steve McQueen in to do that. I don't disagree that it doesn't make it. It does make it sort of exciting at the end with the motorbike chase scene, but it's obviously not 100%, not any percent accurate. So that being said, I love William Russell. I'm really glad he was in this. You know, I'm really glad to see him in anything, really, because he is a really quality actor, not just as Ian Chesterton, but just as in other things that he's been in, which I've seen a few. The other thing that I was noticing in this thing was that the British officers, you know, were treated pretty righteously by their captors, but I mean, it seems like in some of the other war and imprisonment films like Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence and Bridge on the River Kwai, they have an aspect of that that's like that you know, there's still a degree of you know, intimidation and torture and stuff like that that's going on. These soldiers were not, and I'm sure Alex has very strong opinions that we were talking about. So yeah, here he is to give his opinion.
Okay, well, if you just want to, you know, detach, it is a great cast, it is great music, it's great scenery, but unfortunately the subject matter is sort of ignored, and that's not good. I understand that this is not Platoon, this is not Full Metal Jacket, where it is the opposite, and they show too much torture and violence and things like that. This is a great cast. They go on to do wonderful TV work. James Garner and Charles Bronson gets to do the Death Wish movies like 10 years later.
Yeah.
So almost everybody in the movie has, you know, really great commodities, really great franchises like Donald Pleasance with the Halloween and other, you know, series that he gets to do, and bad movies.
And the Italian Job.
Okay, well, but anyway, getting back on. No, you don't have to apologize. The problem is that, you know, I don't know if they were just being myopic or if they glossed it over. I know it took almost $4 million to make. I know they have a big cast. They even have the guy from NCIS in it, and he was in Sapphire and Steel, and that's great. But the problem is, it's not very realistic mostly. And where's the torture? Where's the intimidation? Where's the, you know, I mean, I was counting and the guards were gone for 45 minutes of the movie at least. I mean, come on. This is less realistic than Hogan's Heroes. At least in that show, the guards were around, even if it was Schultz doing his I don't know anything, you know. Yeah, no, not
Alex, it is a movie.
I know. Right, but if you're talking,
Alex wants torture.
No,
Let
but
the man have his torture.
no. But I'm just saying that, you know, these are
We
Nazis.
can
These are bad guys.
perform some
Right?
here if you want.
No, but I mean, these are bad guys. No question about it. And yet they're not even around the camp. I mean, come on, that's silly. So yeah, I understand. I mean, you know, but that's the other thing. There's no real character development. So it's like, okay, it's very plot driven, which is fine. I understand that. But unfortunately, now it's too realistic. Now we have movies that, you know, talk about PTSD and all that. So while this is very charming, and it has a great cast, and it has great lines, and you know, a lot of things have imitated it, and that's fine. It's not bad, but it's just too stylized. It's just too, you know, I mean, if they didn't get shot as they managed to escape, it'd be totally unrealistic. So, you know, it may be a great escape, and I understand what they were going for, but I mean, these are Nazis we're talking about, and they're very famous for all the stuff they did in real life. So I appreciate that they weren't twirling their mustaches, but at the same point, I mean, come on, it's a camp. I mean, Tenko was more realistic from England. Tenko was more realistic. Not entirely realistic, I understand that, but it was more realistic. So, you know, I love the cast, and the actors are great, and they deserve work, and that's great. But it's not realistic enough. It's not.
Did you say that even the costumes and everything were?
Yeah, I mean, according to the internet, which I understand that's dubious, but some of the medals were of the wrong time period and stuff like that. But that's the other thing. Any movie's going to have mistakes too, But it's a nice movie if you just kind of switch off most of the fact that these are Nazis and they weren't violent, mean enough. They didn't show anything. So except for that one guy snapping and going toward the fence and David McCullough getting shot and Donald Pleasance getting shot, it's kind of unrealistic. About, you know, I mean, it wasn't even 20%. So as much as I don't like Hogan's Heroes, even I felt Colonel Klink was more of a threat than the Nazis shown in this film. And I did see the original movie that Hogan's Heroes was based on,
Yeah.
and even I found that more creepy than The Great Escape for different reasons. But like I said, if you just want to kind of shut off and enjoy the music and enjoy the scenery and enjoy the cast, it's enjoyable. But I really think they should have put more threat into it, and I just didn't feel the threat. And also, Steve McQueen is wearing a very modern 1960s watch. He's playing baseball too much. I mean, come on, it's supposed to be a bad scene. It's not supposed to be, you know, him playing baseball with himself or what, you know. And then Christmas carols. I mean, come on, they were supposed to be soul crushing enemies. They weren't. You know, it just didn't ring true for me.
I love how Alex has put a percentage
Yeah.
on the realism.
Yeah.
20%.
Yeah. You know, David Attenborough.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But can I just say, Lee was whittling around there. He was whittling his finger around. What was you going to say, Lee? There was a bit of this going on.
Yeah, okay, yes. You're going about the Nazis, this and the Nazis, that. Bit controversial, but not all Nazis were evil bastards. Right? Some just wanted to get out of there, but they was told to do the job, do this. But some helped the English and that lot. You know, so it's a story from either side. With the commandant of the camp, he just wanted an easy life, isn't he? Because he told him at the beginning of the movie, he's put all the bad eggs into one basket, and he just, you know, it says just don't try and escape. You know, everything will be okay. He wanted an easy life, but said not all Nazis were. I mean, majority were, but not all.
Yeah, majority definitely were.
Yeah, majority were, but not all. Not all. That's what I'm saying. No, it's just like, you know, the same brush is this saying, isn't it? But yeah, realism. Yeah, it's a movie. It's based on a true story, so there is a bit of liberty taken with what stuff in the movie. Okay, you are going to get mistakes. I'm fine with that. Enjoy it for what it is. Yes, Christmas Carol. Yes, they did sing Christmas carols. Even if you remember in No Man's Land, they played a football match.
Yeah, exactly.
On Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is realistically things. It's based on a true story, so things like that must have already happened. You just got to enjoy it for what it is, and enjoy the actors in it for what they did in this movie. As I say, the commandant, not in it much, but I thought that his character was very good, and he didn't any trouble. He didn't want the hassle of because you could see the upset in his face when he got the list of all the 50 what was shot dead. He was shocked at that, and he wanted to tell the other officers, you know, what was going on. So yeah, but with Alex's thing of he wanted more realism, it's just a movie, Alex.
I think you get too hung up on realism, Alex. I think you just got to sit back and sometimes go, look, this is a film. It's made by Hollywood. It's not going to be totally realistic.
But he wasn't saying that it was a crap movie. He was saying he was just discussing some of the details of it. That's all.
Right, so you're fine with that then, Alex, yeah? No, he's not. No, he thinks it's a crap movie. He thinks it's a crap movie. He does.
Well, because it was made in the 60s, he couldn't film torture scenes.
Yeah.
Why was it?
I understand that, and that's why I brought up Hogan's Heroes. But the thing is, too, I know that's a comedy, but at the same point, even they had more guards around than this movie. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't want to see torture. That's not my point.
You did make it
You
sound like
sort
it,
of take,
Alex.
but you sort of take some of the threat out and you take some of the drama out. And I understand they didn't want to go to the other extreme and then, it would be a very unpleasant movie, but I just felt like, come on.
You wanted more danger.
I wanted more danger and I wanted more menace, and it didn't feel like it had enough menace to it. And then, like I said, even Hogan's Heroes, as silly as that was, had more, slightly more realistic than this. And I said slightly because I'm Jewish too, and I also know people that knew the producers and knew, that they were treading a line as well. So, I mean, I understand it's not going to be even 80% realistic. I understand that.
The other thing that is interesting is that if you look at it from a perspective of comparing it to some of the other imprisonment movies, it is actually a lot more gentle and a lot more, sort of. It's a long process to get to the action.
Yeah.
I mean, it took them a long time to even build the bellows to, breathe under the earth. I mean, the processes to get these action scenes are long.
Well, the other issue I have with it while we're on the subject is the fact that a lot of people...
And you say he doesn't hate this film, Susan.
A lot of people are very clean-shaven, too, for a prisoner of war camp as well.
Yeah, but come on, Alex.
All right.
That's like when you see a historical film set in the 1600s and they've all got pearly white teeth. I mean, it's just not realistic.
All right.
Or you see there's a caveman film and they've got all white teeth, like they've just come... and it's like, that's not realistic. Or they've got makeup that they wouldn't even have in that era, in that time. No, that does drive me mad with both television and film, especially the teeth, because they have all this makeup on and they're set in this time period all around them and visually, but then they open their mouth and you see a perfect set of dentures. And it's like, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And I think Beef Dad wants to say something.
Yeah, he does.
Because he's getting very close to the camera.
One of the things that nobody's mentioned is the actual... All the German characters in this were played by German actors. Which is why they sound reasonably convincing. The commandant, he was a well-known actor in Germany, Hannes Messemer. I really enjoyed the performance of Robert Graf as Werner, the ferret. I thought he was really good, and he was. There were guards in prison camps who were like him. They cared about the prisoners. And I tell you that interesting story. Kive, who played Frick in this, he was actually a prisoner of war himself. He was a parachutist. And he was made a prisoner of war by the Americans in Africa, and was spent time in prisoner of war camp in Colorado, and escaped. He escaped the prison camp. He dyed his clothes brown with vegetable dye, and he made it all the way down to where is it they have Fat Tuesday?
New Orleans.
Yeah, he made it all the way down to New Orleans from Colorado before he was caught again.
That's a long way. That is at least 2,200 miles.
Yeah, It was brilliant. I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's a story that I would like to see them make a film of, because that interests me. But yeah, it's another great escape. But yeah, it's just too long. It is just too long.
No, I think everybody has really the same problems with this film, with it being way too long. I mean, to be honest, when I saw the runtime, I nearly died of fright. I mean, really.
I mean, it was the 60s as well. I mean, there was a lot of big blockbusters. There was Cleopatra, there was The Great Race, there was The Great Escape. There was a lot of 60s movies that were almost 3 hours in length, and were also big budget, flicks for the time.
But 3 hours in length to me, I mean, here I am kind of disagreeing with you guys again, but I don't agree. I think it's like a perfect length of time. It's a really enjoyable length for me.
No, I disagree totally. I don't think any film, no, actually there is one film. But apart from that one film, no other film should be 3 hours.
Not even Gone with the Wind?
No, if Disney announced tomorrow that Frozen 2 is 3 hours long, I'll be quite happy.
Oh, is that right?
I would much prefer 3 days, but I'll take 3 hours.
Yeah.
But no other film should be 3 hours long. None. Building it out, none. This film is far too long. End of. Forget it.
So is that why you don't watch any of the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit?
No. Why do I want to sit there? I don't watch any of the Lord of the Rings. They're far too long. Why does a film need to be that long?
Anyway, I disagree. I totally disagree with you.
I think actually Beef Dad moved into favourite moments.
Oh yeah.
So Susan, you might as well give us your favourite moments.
All right. I really like the Jeopardy presented the one time when the German comes up to him and goes, "Good luck," and the Englishman goes, "Thank you," and then he's discovered. That gets me in the feels every time. I was like, "Shut up! Don't speak! Oh my God, you worked so hard at this." And the other time that is one of my favorite moments is where the German officer loses or has his wallet stolen, and all of his paperwork is like they take out all the paperwork and they remake copies and stuff. That was pretty awesome. And so yeah, those are two of my favorite moments of this.
I think this is actually going to be quite short for Alex, because if Alex just sticks to his favourite moments.
Well, like I said, it has a great cast. I mean, again, it is a great cast. I did like Donald Pleasance in the film. I did like James Garner. I did like Charles Bronson. I did like Steve McQueen.
Did you like
there wasn't necessarily a quote-unquote favorite moment as far as the movie goes. I just, like I said, I don't know, too, how they were able to build so many tunnels. Nobody found out almost, and then they're right in the middle of the field, and they pretty much get away. I mean, mostly get away. I mean, it just, yeah, I mean, it's like, am I watching the A-Team? I'm not quite sure. But like I said, love the actors, though. I just wish it was a stronger, more fearsome story.
Alex, if chickens can do it, so can people. Let's go to Stephen for favourite moments.
Yeah, it's got to be the one with Steve McQueen on the motorbike. And talking of that, the motorcycle was a Triumph TR6 trophy. And it was painted to look like a German machine. And it's on display at Triumph's factory in Inkley, UK.
Oh, in Hinkley.
Yeah.
Oh, not far from around here. Let's go to Lee, because we have to.
Oh,
In the
thank you.
contract.
Yeah.
That's the
As
one
I
viewer
keep
gone.
saying,
That's the viewer gone.
yeah, as I keep saying, going back to Alex's debate about realism, it's based on a true story. It happened. They did tunnels. Right. My favourite moments. Well, I do like the humour. There is a bit of humour with the Cooler King going back into the cooler, and he hands the officer back the keys as he's going into the cell. Things like that. And I do like the scenes with Donald Pleasance where he's trying to hide that he's gone blind. With Richard, I nearly said David Attenborough then, Susan. Oh, with Richard Attenborough and James Garner, brilliant scene. And I do like the Angus Lenny scene where he finally breaks and the mole races for the fence. I mean, Angus Lenny, the very underrated actor. As Beef Dad said, was known as Shuey McPhee in Crossroads, and also appeared in Doctor Who twice, Ice Warriors, and Terror of the Zygons. But brilliant actor. Yeah, those scenes, and say the scenes with the Commandant, I thought was brilliant. I think it was just the camaraderie in the camp where they was all working together. It worked so well. It's amazing though, thinking of all this cast. I think, I might be wrong, but I think there's only 3 actors left alive from this movie now. William Russell, Leighton, and the other guy, David McCallum. I think they're the only 3 what are still alive out of that huge cast. But yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. I say it's humour. I think there's a bit of edge to it. Okay, yeah, Alex says it needs more realism, but it's a movie. It's a Hollywood movie. If there was too much realism in it, would people be flocking to see it? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think if Alex has problems with realism, he's going to have a meltdown when we get to our next review. I mean, seriously, Alex, are you going to be able to get through the next review? And actually, Beef Dad, you're going to see William Russell, aren't you?
Yes, in October.
At Time Lash.
Yes.
Will you ask him about this, or are you just going to talk about Doctor Who?
Yes, or possibly both.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I'm not jealous.
I'm also going to be asking him about the big television series he did in the UK before Doctor Who. Played one of the Arthurian knights. And yes, he played Lancelot. And they did an entire series based around him as Lancelot in the title role, and that was brilliant.
Is that all lost?
I don't know.
I've never seen that.
Have you not?
No,
Oh.
I'm way too young.
Well, I've only got 4 weeks till 70, so. Say la vie. Go on, say it.
You're still very young. Compared to all the other people from this movie, you're still very young.
Thank you so much.
You need a new monitor.
Give it a wipe down.
Anyway. So basically, we're all moaning about this film's too long, but it has good bits. But at the end of the day, It's way too long. I think Brian probably has the best idea with this film. Just watch the highlights. So let's go. Does anybody have anything else to say about this film? Otherwise, we're going to go to final say and score. Yes, Lee, what?
Me.
Yes, you.
Yeah,
How many
well,
there are you?
nobody's mentioned James Coburn, his Australian accent in this. I just wanted to point that one out. But also, it's good to know that this movie, according to Susan, was an enjoyable.
Yeah, I can't believe
I'm not going to say any more on the matter.
Susan.
Well, I
Alex-
mean, they did have a TV sequel, and
Yes, I
also
thought they did. I saw that on Netflix, and I thought, "What the hell is this? This is not."
and
Escape too.
yeah, and Donald Pleasance was in a different role. And going back to the original movie, it did make a lot of money. So I guess a lot of people do love it, and not just for the cast.
Yeah, because I thought, well, I thought, well, I'll check see if it's on Netflix, and then it came up with like this. It was. Is it just the pilot it did? Because it just came up with one episode of it.
No, it was a TV movie.
Oh, it was a TV movie.
Just like the Navarone series, which was also the second part was a TV movie as well. But that's a different that's a different story. Even though it did have
You're not gonna go
Harrison
into it,
Ford
then?
in it, but that's a different story.
Go into it now. No. Does anybody else have anything to add? Otherwise, we're going to final say and score. No? Okay, right, Lee, final say and score.
An enjoyable movie. As I say, it's a great cast. You can't knock it too much. So I'm going to give it. It's just the length of it. That's the problem with me. It's too long. I'm going to give it 7.5 Tom, Dick, and Harry's out of 10.
And let's go to Stephen Price.
Enjoyable movie. Too long. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
And let's go to Beef Dad.
Too long, in places wildly inaccurate. So 6.
And Susan and Alex. Come on, Alex.
Here you go first.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great cast. It's great scenery. It's great that they filmed it mostly on location. But only for the cast am I giving this a 7.
What?
I don't find it very accurate. But like I said, I know a lot of people, they just love it for the cast. That's the reason why they love it.
Alex, you were going to build it up to like a 2 or something like that. That's the way you were speaking.
And I disagree. I will give it an 8.5. I will watch it probably again in another couple months. I enjoy this movie a lot.
Alex has got that to look forward to.
And I really like David Attenborough's movies. We seem to be doing quite a few.
No.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm just, yeah.
Thanks for that, Susan. Well, what else can I add? Not much really, because it is far too long. Yes, it's got good scenes. It's got good moments. Accuracy. I mean, I don't care about accuracy. I don't care how realistic it is, to be honest. It's just a movie. That's all it is. I don't worry about things like that. And I know it's based on, real events and true stories, but at the end of the day, it is a movie. You can't get too hung up on if it's accurate, because there's things in real life that definitely back then you couldn't have in movies. I mean, if there was all the torture in there that went on in this film, if that was in here, it would be really, well, it would be a hard watch for a start. So, yeah, you can't get too hung up on the realism. But I think I'm going to give it, for the length, I'm going to give it a 5. Because it is way too long. It is way too long. So, yes, tell us below what you make of The Great Escape. Did it want you to make the escape yourself from viewing it? Or did you love it? Tell us below. Thank you for watching, lone viewer. And thank you, everybody here, for joining me. Look after yourself. Take care. And we will see you next time.